Alright, greetings and salutations. My name is Comic Fire, and welcome to the final dungeon of Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil Saga 2. This is really serious business considering he followed us to the grave. But yeah, that's right. Everyone died! I think it's the craziest thing. Literally everyone died. We're all playing with people's deceased souls in the great beyond. And now we're Seraph. The way Seraph, stat-wise, works is it's a combination of Seraph and Saga. Obviously. And, it takes the highest, Seraph takes the highest stats of the two combined. Like, whoever's got a higher magic stat, Seraph is going to have. If Seraph got a higher luck stat, Seraph's going to have. I was told it combined the two together, but I suppose that would have been overpowered, which is why I didn't focus on magic as much as I probably should have. Being male and female, I don't quite know how to address Seraph. The game never really tells you, either. His or her preferred pronouns. And now we get to see Seraph in battle. With its new Anma avatar, Arda. A-R-D-H-A. Arda. I can't say, I'm just gonna say Arda. Anyway, I don't know, I don't believe he takes any, whatever your current mantra is with Seraph, I believe, or Surf is the one who Seraph takes after immediately. But it's also aware that Sarah had a mantra, so you can pick that up at any time. Arda has 0 weaknesses, and I also believe 0 resists. And if you told Margot Cuvier to sort of shove it right before you fought Heat, you get the Reincarnate skill, which was that super deadly one from Digital Devil Saga 1. It costs too much MP to be reliable. It's nice as a screen nuke when you're grinding right next to like a, right next to a large karma terminal, but now if you bring every single karma ring to that guy, he'll give you the Master Ring, which acts as the null attack skill. The only thing that'll be able to hit you is Almighty skills. And that guy you can buy Impel Stones from. This is where I did all of my level grinding. Which I don't believe I show off. No, I have to show it off. But I did like 6 hours of level grinding here or something. Like 5 or 6. Because the enemies here are starting to get really powerful. Well, not starting to get, they're really powerful from the get-go. And we even get to use Cerberus's Pyroplegathon skill, which is definitely the most powerful fire skill in the game. And maxing out Gale's magic to take full advantage of it is a good idea. I certainly take full advantage of it later on. And I got to show off Seraph's gun, the Prana Beam. You just kabam! Flash your enemy the shocker, and no, I'm kidding. I'm sure it's something very important. I just don't know the significance of the hand gestures. I am not among the Buddhist or Hindu ranks. I wouldn't know. And Pyroplegathon's just a fun skill to use. Now, I'm not going to show off Argilla's new skill, Seraph lore, but I think it's a 100% accurate Mahamo. I also think it's... I don't know if it's cheaper. But it certainly is something. And these are the last of the Jack Frost questions. The last 20 we have to deal with. But could you imagine if she attacked with the boobs? Then again, I suppose if I wanted to see anyone, it'd be Gale. Like, what does he do? Just sort of handstand on his, Just do a handstand on his prey and then just eat that? Should have guessed it was Force and Earth. I knew Force, but I guess I just should have gotten Earth. This one's a trick question if you came straight from Digital Devil Saga 1, because only 3 of any boost work nowadays. I knew Stone. Especially from Digital Devil Saga 1, where we fought Gotobelvaz in the Brute Space. Boy, I forgot all about the tribes. I would say I wish they'd go further into the tribes, but in this game there's no point because they were just programs. And in Quantum Devil Saga, they are going further into it. I really wonder the turns that Quantum Devil Saga is going to take. Speaking of which, have you all bought Quantum Devil Saga? I dropped links to it in the tail end of my Digital Devil Saga 1 LP. Except the Demi-Fiend video, which probably would have been my best shot to get the word out on that, but... oh well. It's a really good book if you're a fan of the games. Things are different, of course, since it's more or less the original way the plot was going to go, minus the fact that Gale's a part, because Yu Godai, who was the person who is writing it, didn't originally plan for Gale to exist. So it's different, it's not 100% what it was going to be, but it's the closest thing I'm going to get. Yay! Sweet. We'll use that certificate later on, but the data set, I believe, is 1 of every data. Yeah, 1 of every data. Alright, and here's the new setup. Why is it so blurry? Oh god, are they all like this? I hope not. I want to redo all that. Anyway. Very powerful skills on everyone. Except for Cielo, who is just really the healer and still just straight up electricity. What settings did I use for that? I want to check now, but I gotta finish up here. Well, I am sorry, fellas. Oh, wait, no, I can fix this, I can just re-edit it. Not all the same jump cuts and everything, but, I still have the original program file, so I can just mess around with that. I think that's the coolest thing to do. Well, actually, no, Gale's is the coolest. Of course, I always do auto to make it quicker, so... sometimes I never know. This is where the guide started screwing me over. Very, very vague details in a place where vague details are just going to get you lost. So much so that I got lost for 10 minutes and I had to cut it all out. I didn't even know these existed. Leaveshame, or however you pronounce it. I think that's really cool. Of course, Thunderbolt's just mega elect damage. I think Landslide drops accuracy or something. Now, I believe Executioner is the highest amount of damage straight up from relative to like the HP cost that it takes, it's the strongest physical skill in the game. Things like Divine Light from Michael's Dragon Slayer mantra are very cool. But it's a lot of HP, and Godslayer does more damage, I believe. Not Godslayer, Executioner. Godslayer is a skill with a very high critical hit rate, but low accuracy to compensate. And there's nothing! Yeah, you're gonna need a lot of core shields here. Though I believe the core shield is only used for the second layer here. There's the surface layer, the second layer, and it goes all the way down to the final layer, which is the 6th layer. I recorded all of the sun in one take. And from start to finish, including the final boss and ending cutscene, which I still think counts, it took 3 hours and 15 minutes. Which is a long time. For a dungeon. I don't even think the, God, was it the Karma Temple at the end of the first game? Took that long. And again, I didn't edit out any fights from that, so I can always just check to see how long the videos were. Boy, I really made you guys put up with that. Sorry. Let's see, it starts out with episode 19, but this playlist doesn't show how long the videos are anymore. Which I think is just horse hockey. Okay, so it took a little under 2 hours. So yeah, the sun is longer, which I should expect from the final dungeon of the final game. This is the culmination of everything that's occurred in these two games. Everything has led up to this. From us duking it out with handguns, to a second-rate, not even a second-rate, to a D-list tribe in the junkyard. And now here we are. The ultimate being, basically. A fusion of man and woman with a Atma avatar with no weaknesses. Started off in a rainy place in a rundown base, and here we are going through this. First off, the sun. We're going through the goddamn sun. There are demons here. We're not burning alive. Time and space aren't melting together. I don't think that's an actual thing when it comes to the sun, though. You ever see that movie Sunshine? Like, it's the one that's like, oh no, the sun is dying, and we've got to drop this huge bomb into the sun to reignite it. Which apparently doesn't work like that. You can't really just reignite the sun. The guy there was telling me to go like 3 different directions to get a bunch of items, so I didn't want all those items and had to backtrack more. But I think it was just more like plants. Speaking of which, the last 2 plants in the game you can only get here, which are the olive branch and the lotus seed. It's time for the first boss of the sun. Harley? Yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing here. Nice little boss rush to end the game off. Now, I kind of wish I brought Bufudyne here, because Cocytus isn't really the best skill against bosses. But the thing about it is it has a much higher freeze chance than any other ice-based skill, so I love having it for random battles. Now, Hayagriva isn't much scarier than it used to be in Digital Devil Saga 1, to be perfectly candid. It's got Ice Drain instead of Void Ice. Firestorm isn't scary anymore because none of our company is weak to fire anymore. Well, can you imagine if the Vanguards were the one to make it to the top of the Karma Temple? If fucking Hayagriva was the one trying to convince God? I don't know if Hayagriva picked up any new skills, but if so, we definitely didn't see them. I'm gonna see if Hayagriva picked up any new skills. The only thing he got was... He doesn't Void Fire anymore? Wow. The only thing he got was higher HP, changing Void Ice to Ice Drain, and Psycho Rage. And we get a Manjusaka, which can be traded for a shitload of money. Alright, on to the, oh yeah. Unfortunately, David and the person Cielo is based off of aren't here. Which I don't think they ever really explained who Cielo is based off of. I read on the wiki it was like another kid who was talking to God who was from Jamaica, but... And he died very early. This first room is to just teach you about how the third layer's gimmick is going to be following these golden roads across time and space. We get a revival gem, which is useless because I got a revival orb, so it's free money. And there's another large data node in case you want to do some grinding down here. However, I wouldn't recommend it if you don't have Cocytus yet. Or again, however you pronounce it. Because Gira Makalas are completely... I know they reflect bullets, and I think they also reflect... I think they reflect every physical skill. I thought they might have drained one. And Lilith can be annoying with Charm. It's probably faster to grind here with Cocytus because you're right next to the large data node, in which case, in the first one, I had to keep going back to the surface of the sun. However, I could always talk to Johnny and get more money by selling all the plants I was getting, so... It's really up to you. You're gonna be getting into a boss fight soon, so I figured I'd prepare by throwing Ice Drain onto it. Did we ever fight a boss in the first game? Okay, yeah, King Frost, duh. I was gonna say, like, were there any bosses that primarily used ice? None of the tribe leaders did besides us. Harley was fire. Junana was light. Nick was earth. Lupa was fire again. And Ravana was, or Colonel Beck was primarily force. Seeing Petrifier petrified me, no pun intended. But since there are a plethora of enemies who like to use death skills, having a skull ring on one of your party members isn't a bad idea. I would have really liked it if there was a party member like weak to light and death. Though this dungeon really made me like when it came to toning down Ciela's weakness to ailments. I was gonna say elements, but it has to like actually hit for it to count. Because I fought this one thing, like those birds, the light birds, the Horuses. They're weak to death, and I kept using the Al-Azif, which is a reusable Mamudo. And though he was weak to death, it took me like 3 turns of fully spamming it before it hit and finally said weak. So I know they changed it from Digital Devil Saga 1, where if something was weak to it, it meant it was more likely to get hit by it, not that if it hit, you got an extra turn. And I really think they changed that simply to benefit Cielo's weakness to ailments. Anyway, you want to go over here, but I don't think this path exists if you don't have the certificate. So if you have the certificate, step on through. Hey there, buddy. Oh. And we get a boss fight against the Jack Frost. It's not like King Frost, where he's going to be immune to fire as well. In fact, his primary weakness is fire. So he is like King Frost in that if he has an Ice Drain skill up, he isn't going to use his strongest skill. I believe King Frost used Cocytus, but Jack has something stronger than that called Breath, which has a really high chance to hit. Then I believe he uses Psycho Rage and then starts spamming physical attacks on the weakened character. But if you have Ice Drain up, he's going to start spamming Megiddo Layout. Whichever's better for you, use at your own risk. Pirate Plegathon is great for this guy. Especially if you have Mind Charge on Gale. With Mind Charge, that probably would have dealt probably like 1,500 damage. Now's when the pain begins. Especially since at this point you're most likely not going to have salvation. which is a Medea Rahan with the added effect of clearing out all ailments. You're most likely not going to have it by this point. I didn't think this through. I had to kick him so hard. Fortunately, it only hits one character. But it can hit multiple times. The skill Close Call can trigger that survive the attack thing more often. In fact, I think it's guaranteed at least once. Still putting myself at risk for breath. Fortunately, he didn't seem to want to use it. Why haven't I gotten Gale out of stun yet? I mean, it's not really working against me besides dropping sextuple-digit amounts of money, but, you know, whatever. I don't know what my plan was here, but I think it works out. Plus, we're seeing him down into the red amount of health. Yeah, Frosty's got a plan. And he lets you know he has one, but I guess that attack mirror worked out then. I do like the little head bobbing that Jack does. But doesn't matter, he's dead. Of course, we didn't eat him, so it's not going to do us any good for our Atma points, but whatever. I got the Rich Ring for Gale to cut down on money grinding time. Yeah, he homeboys! Oh. You can still encounter Jack, while even before you fight him, if you encounter him, he'll just give you a random really good item. And now, if you still encounter him, you can still get a random really good item, like a Soma or a Great Chakra. I don't know if it's a Soma. But what we get are the Magatama bullets, which are now only the second strongest bullets in the game. And the Pass Ring, which doesn't use a turn icon when you use the Pass command. Which is necessary for certain bosses.